everybody, it's that time again. We're doing this isn't a pop-up, I announced it. With Kathy Biehl, our resident astrologer. We have political astrology, we have a psychic. You all know us pretty well
Hey,
by now. We've been doing this for years. And today is April 15th, traditionally known as Tax Day, and we can talk about how people are feeling about that. Um, so we're going to talk about what's going on in America and our crazy politics, and we can vent a little if we need to. We can take deep breaths. Maybe we'll even throw in a group hug. Maybe.
maybe. Uh-oh.
So
If there
what's
are
going
enough
on?
of you,
How's your month been so far, Kathy?
ridiculously productive.
Oh, well, that's good. Productive is good, right?
I need a break.
We all
Oh,
need a break.
hello, Western Maryland. Hello, Western Maryland. I see.
I have
I see
a
this.
little thing here. This is share your referral link. I don't know what that means. Oh, okay. It just posted something for me. I was just checking to see. Now, new to streaming or looking to level up, check our StreamYard and get 10% discount. All right, I didn't know what that was. Never mind. Unless you want to enroll in StreamYard. So we have had quite a tumultuous several days. That it just seems like it keeps escalating.
Mhm.
I know that you're doing shows. You can tell us what other shows you're doing with other like people that are in the field.
Well, Louise Eddington, Cosmic Owl Astrology, and I have a pretty much standard Friday afternoon. We always record at 3 Eastern and it goes up at some point in the afternoon. And we've been looking at a wide variety of issues since the beginning of November. We have more than 40 hours of video. I also periodically do a collaboration with an astrologer reader who lives about 20 minutes, half an hour away from me, I found out, called the Cool Crone. People have confused us because we both have side parts and white streaks coming off our parts. And I will be on her channel this Wednesday at 7 Eastern for something she calls polytarology. So it's political. There's mostly tarot. I throw in the astrology. So that's coming up this week also.
And they can watch it afterwards too, just in case
Yeah.
they might happen
Oh,
to
yeah.
be on PNN at 7 p.m. Friday.
So sorry. On Wednesday. Yeah. 7 p.m. Wednesday. Yes. They can watch it afterwards. That is correct.
Oh, it's on Wednesday. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Yeah. The one with Louise just posts. It's not a live thing. We record it ourselves because we work a lot of stuff out.
yeah, that
Anyway.
helps to record ahead of time. So Kathy, as most of you know, is part of Off the Ledge, the daily. I don't remember when I started this, but I know that people were flipping out. It's just there's been so many periods of people flipping out. But when I started, I invited Kathy to share a daily mini astrology forecast for the day, which has been really fun. And I think people look forward to it. So I want to just thank you for that. It adds a
Thank you for the
lot to
idea.
that. Yeah, it adds a lot to that little, check in. Is everybody okay? Everyone's still breathing. Um, and so I do that daily here on my channel. And the past couple of days, I just want to start with that you've said it's you'll feel like you want to kill someone, but don't. Can we
Yes.
start there?
Somebody on my Patreon said, I didn't unalive anyone today.
Oh yeah. So we're doing good in that department, but we really do need to learn how to rein in the overwhelming emotions, particularly fear. And on that note, I was just listening a little bit to Greg Braden. Do you watch Greg Braden at all?
No, I know who he is, but no, I don't.
Yeah, he's kind of a science guy. He was a geologist, and he does really deep dives into spirituality and the roots of all that. Uh and he just recorded a video in which he talked about not saying things like when somebody goes to perform break a leg or I'm cracking up or things like that, like I'm just stretched to the limit. When we say things, we don't recognize that the field aligns with that. So all the more reason why I keep getting guidance to only, especially right now, listen to what is uplifting and what is hopeful. So I want to pass that along to everybody. Only fill your mind with what is uplifting and what is hopeful. The past day or two, I'd say especially yesterday, kind of caught me off guard. I didn't know it was going to be that bad. And I would say it was an in-your-face day. We saw an absolute constitutional crisis right in front of our eyes. The what do we want to call them? The trash defied the Supreme Court. Yeah, love your mug.
Yeah. So to channel us into something else. Rage is an appropriate response.
Yeah.
Rage is actually, I had a long talk with someone today who was not understanding what was going on in her life, and she's an astrologer. And she kept saying, I can't even see in my chart what this is. And by the time we finished our conversation, she got from being utterly confused to angry, which is motivating,
Oh, wow.
So I want to point out to everyone that we're moving toward a series of incredibly motivating aspects that are going to hit around the weekend. There's a lot planned for the 19th.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of marches. A friend of mine has an artist's a creative resistance, multifaceted response at abbetuck.com, ABBET as in Tom, UCK.com. And it has a whole list of things that you can do. And all of these things there are all these different astrological aspects this week that are going to fire up our guidance, that are going to make us start speaking much more from a spiritually impassioned position. And then it will be like we all woke up and were taking really, really dramatic action. So you're going to get your moxie back if that's too old a word for you. Coming back online, feeling like you're alive, standing up and going, nope, nope.
So what
No,
is that? What is the Abatuk? What is that?
a friend. Okay, that's the name of the website, and I haven't logged into StreamYard, so I can't put it in the chat. But it's ABBETUCK.com. If someone else can type that in, it'd be great. A friend of mine who's retired, who's done lots of corporate citizenship initiatives over his career, dreamed this up. And also someone else who's going to be the guest on my Celestial Compass show on Om Times next Monday has this incredible Flood the Post initiative. And she's actually broken it down by generation, like a different day of the week. And she has addresses, and send things in envelopes because they have to be processed, and you don't have to actually even say anything. She just wants certain offices flooded with mail, the White House being one of them. And she said, put in your junk mail and write "because you're trash" or something on it.
Yeah.
I will. This is on Instagram. Her angle is the Shabby Cottage, SHABBY Cottage. So those are some things that you can actually do to express. We're not going to all make like in the old movie Network and open our windows and scream, I'm mad as hell and not going to take it anymore. There's just a real strong energy of now we do things. Now we do things.
I feel that. And right in alignment with that, I just want to say that it's interesting to me that I feel more on fire and inspired and hopeful and convinced that we're going to knock this fascism out than I do freaked out by what we're seeing on full display, which is a fascist regime. We're calling it a regime now. Hardly anyone that I'm talking to is calling it the government. So it doesn't make logical sense to me, but it kind of depends on what I'm filling my mind with too. But I just mean from a psychic perspective, and I've told you about this along the way too, is like I feel optimistic. It doesn't make sense on, at face value. It doesn't make sense. I feel optimistic. I think part of it though has to do with look at how many people are now showing up for
Mhm.
democracy. Look at how many MAGAs really have no argument now. Even though I never thought that any of the arguments made any sense anyway. It was just kind of repeating talking points, Russian talking points. But on that note, too, the other thing that I've seen in the readings at PNN recently, you may have heard me say this on PNN, is that there's and what's building up right now is a deluge of gaslighting. And
Mhm.
I was saying that a couple days before we saw that debacle, another debacle in the Oval Office. I'm telling you, we need bales of sage to clean that place out. Where Stephen Miller, we're not gonna. I asked Kathy to look at his chart, and she's like, I can't. I don't blame you. But anyway, it's always okay to ask. He said that the Supreme Court voted in favor of keeping Garcia deported and in the
No,
concentration camp. He
and
said
they
that
didn't. I know.
flat out.
Yeah, they're just lying. They just lie all the
I know,
time.
but have you seen it to this level where they take what everybody who's paying attention knows the vote was against Trump, against fascism, against keeping this innocent man and really the rest of them too in a concentration camp and turning it around. And for that matter, Pam Blondie, people are calling her Blondie, uh, too. She was literally like a litany of these are the crimes he committed. He didn't commit any crimes.
No, and he wasn't tried on anything. He didn't get a trial. He was just put in a plane.
He was just a guy from another
Yep.
country under legal protection in our country. So I wonder if you see anything Neptunian that might
Oh,
have
well,
accelerated this and blown it up.
well, we have had recently a preponderance of energy in the sign of Pisces at the very end of Pisces. Neptune, the ruler of Pisces, just cleared out finally, but Saturn is still there. The North Node, the way we're going, is still there. Mercury has not yet left. It will. Uh, or maybe it did today. It's at any rate, Mercury has been in Pisces. Venus is still there, and Venus is sitting at a degree, basically hanging out with Saturn until about the 24th. So we've got this long period of constraints on the underprivileged, constraints on the less powerful. That would be Venus and Pisces. The government doing things that limits or hurts large numbers of people. All of this stuff that has been done during dual retrogrades is going to get undone. It's a question of A, how much damage is done. And I do not want to downplay that a lot of people are in really serious danger and
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This
hurting.
is yeah.
And
That's true.
secondly, I mean, and then we grow into, oh, well, now build 5 more prisons because the homegrowns are next. So that was caught on mic. So
Right.
no, actual citizens, I'm like, nobody who
Yeah.
got naturalized, actual citizens are going to be up for
Yeah.
this nonsense as well. So it'll be undone, however, and just watch if you thought the crowds were huge on April 5th, I suspect April 19 will break records like crazy, even
Yeah.
more so. Look at the number of people who've been showing up for Bernie and AOC. Bernie went to Coachella. And in that regard,
Yeah.
I want to bring up something you and I talked about over the phone, and that is, remember those beautiful 100 days of really exciting rallies and meetings from the Harris Walls campaign, the number of people that were showing
Yeah.
up. Who remembers? I remember the thrill of, this is strange, but going into restrooms and leaving notes for women that I didn't
Yeah.
know, letting them know that their vote was private and they should
Yeah.
enforce their own rights. There was a really, really strong energy that culminated in a huge event on the ellipse a day or two before the election. We
Yeah.
still have access to that energy, and that's what
Yeah.
I encourage people to head for.
I pulled Kathy off the ledge the other day. I was like, it was perfect because we text back and forth, and I had just gotten this download, so it was great. It was like, do I have the download for you? And that's what I picked up, was that somebody saying I missed the Kamala, the joy. Here's what I want to say about that Prolific Films. It didn't go away. That energy is still very much present, right? And I didn't really expect to get that kind of information. It just shifted me. It was like, wait. And we're going to see that there were over 100,000 people at that Ellipse rally that she had. It's becoming really evident to more people than we might know how much this election was rigged. And I do not fear saying that on YouTube because Trump admitted it. The Kremlin said that they interfered. Elon said that they interfered. They didn't just say it once.
No, they've said it multiple times.
So this is what happened. We are the joy, Cheryl's saying. We generated joy. There's a law of physics. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transformed from one state to another, right? You're kind of a scientist. You told me Einstein was your distant relative.
Not incredibly distant, no.
What, second cousin?
Just about. Yeah, I think it's like,
Oh
yeah,
my
he's in the
goodness. So
cousin.
here we
Yeah.
You should be more famous, don't you think? So, here's the deal. We didn't go away. We're still here. The energy's still here. We haven't seen it because MAGA's really invested on covering it up. We're still here. All right, everybody?
Absolutely.
And I want to just address something that I've seen in the chat. I'm watching the chat today a little bit. Is that we understand that SCOTUS got us into this mess. I also know that one of the lawyers, is his last name who?
Issue?
Who? The one that stood up for Harvard. He's a lawyer for Harvard for this whole. We're going to look at Harvard today too, astrologically. He actually was on the defense side of this Harvard thing that Dumpy wanted them to not teach, basically, and they lost $2 billion. But that was the guy that did the report on Biden. Remember the special counsel? Where he came out and it was all over the news that, oh, Biden is just an old, dawdling old man. Remember that? Did you know that? It's the same lawyer. So as far as SCOTUS goes, back to my, the point of saying this, let's not eliminate the whole idea that due to circumstances changing, they could change their minds. That's the last. I'm going to shut up now, but I just really want to make that point.
Let me add to that. Who wants to give up power? Nobody in power
exactly.
wants to give up power. And at this point, SCOTUS now has its power on the line. It's not going to give up power.
Yeah, and we had said that. We had said, what are they doing? Don't they know that a dictator could just go, who needs SCOTUS? Do you think it's to that point?
For some of them, yes.
Well, let's see what you have astrologically about where we're going here.
Well, okay, I'm not sure where to
I understand.
Start. Hang on a second.
Start every broadcast that way. Where do I begin? Thank you, everyone, for being here. Please hit the thumbs up and please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm really
So
working on
the
getting better
first
at
one I
that.
want to look at, because he's a player in this whole absolutely insane illegal immigration policy. Just ground rule here. Everybody in this country, I don't care if you're here illegally, if you're here legally, if you're naturalized, it's a given right that you get to have due process. You get to
Yeah,
confront your accusers. You get
yeah,
to have a court hearing. You aren't simply yanked out of your car and put on an airplane in shackles and sent out of the country to a prison. Even if you're deported, historically, you don't go to a prison. So, Marco Rubio, yet another Gemini. What is it with all the
yeah,
Geminis?
yeah.
Uh,
Two-Face.
Rubio has some stuff coming up. Now, he is archly conservative via his chart, okay? His chart does show him to be profoundly conservative and also really tied into big, big, big money. Also, no surprise. But something kind of unexpected is on the way by, oh, same as for Stephen Whittoff. Hold on. When is this going to be? It is going to be
Whitcock. We'll have to probably remind
Whitcock.
people who
Whitcock
that
in
is.
June. In June. Okay. So he has something that blows a bunch of things open in mid-June. So just put a pin. Like I know everyone's going, oh my God, I want them out of there before then. Trust me, I am like driving that train. Okay. The I want them out of there before then train.
Yeah, we all are.
We
Let's be
how
real.
but there is something that could actually spell real trouble and possibly a loss of his position of power by mid-June. So just hang on to that.
Who
Hang
really
on.
belongs? Who really belongs in a prison? And we wouldn't even be so heinous as to. I don't know. Depends. But the
Well, he's
orange
going to ramp some
buffoon.
things up this week. All right. I mean, the whole notion of doubling down. Yeah. That'll be
Yeah.
there. But yeah. So, and interestingly, okay, I said Whitkov, he also has the same kind of problem. And actually, I mentioned at the outset, I started by talking, I know I've just shifted here, but I started by talking about a big pileup of energy in the sign of Pisces at the end of Pisces. Ultimate water, ultimate interconnectedness. And if it's really contacting something in your chart, it's been having a dissolving quality to it. So it's right on top of his sun in his chart. Something about his whole notion of himself. I mean, he could be off. He could have bought into some glamour thing, whatever. I don't know, but there's a money piece to this for him also.
Marco Rubio.
No, I've moved to Steve Witkoff.
Oh, Wyckoff. Okay, okay. But
Okay, so
you
it's
said it's
Rubio.
similar.
Rubio, it's like it's just part of his personality. Right now, for Witkoff, there is something. He's under glamour. He's under a spell. He possibly has had a sense of huge power or a new injection of well cloaked money. It's possible. It's possible, but by mid June, same timetable. Something blowing open for him. Something that will be very, very uncomfortable. Same timetable as Rubio, mid
Yeah,
June. All right, so
yeah.
just and and those of us who've been tracking this have pretty consistently said they will all go, not just, oh, Trump's going to be
That's
impeached.
true.
I
That's
personally
true.
do not believe there's
Yeah,
a chance in hell of that happening. It
yeah. That's
should,
true.
but I don't think that's what it's going to be. So those two might find their positions blowing up at pretty much the same time, mid
Couple
June.
things. A couple things about that. I just want to do a little housekeeping in the chat. Electrostorm, can you tone it down a little bit, please? And Warren, I just got through saying about saying things that we don't want to be true. So can you delete we're back in 1930s Germany, please? I love you all. During these times that we're in, it's like Kathy was saying, the past 2 days forecast, you might feel like killing someone, but don't, right? So I can feel the rage is really in the chat. And I understand because I feel that rage too. But let's just clean it up in the chat. If you could, I really appreciate it, everybody. Let's not say pessimistic and horrible things. Even if
And
you don't think
oh
it's
yeah,
that.
I agree with that completely. But and with Witkoff, the eclipse cycle that we're under, March and September of this year, really does affect a lot of stuff in his chart, and it could bring a complete reboot of what his life is about. And
Right.
so he and Rubio both have high prospects of whatever they're doing, like a fall from power. We'll just say that. And Witkoff, something in the fall that is huge and unpleasant.
So about that, I just want to compare notes a little bit because what I've gotten about Witkoff was that, if you want to hear what I said about him, I think it was last night. I felt that this to Putin, when he did this, when he saw Putin, I felt like he was really overdoing it to get in Putin's good graces because my psychic impression was he knew he was teetering on the edge of, I don't know, an open window or something. That was my sense. And with Rubio, I feel like his life is in danger. That is my strong impression. And
Others have thought that. Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
What have they said? Because I really feel
No,
that.
I mean, but this thing in mid-June could be very dangerous for him.
I think they're both in really big danger. For defying the fascist orders in some way. And Rubio wasn't like that before. I was never a fan, but he wasn't overtly fascist before.
No.
And you saw him in that meeting with Zelensky. I mean, I picked up on it, and then I was like, "Wow!" Other people are posting the same, like kind of a meme of him just sitting there like a little child in school that had gotten in trouble and was in the principal's office. It's getting to be really obvious. So you did. So that's what you have on Wilcott's chart, right? And does everyone know who we're talking about?
He's the envoy to Russia. He's our Russian envoy.
Trump's special envoy to Russia, and he was in real estate in New York.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about him, and he also was in that Signal Gate chat.
And he was the one who was in Russia.
Yeah.
For the chat.
Yeah.
Right.
So
right.
all this stuff is right in our faces. So of course we're upset. They need justice. They need to be sent to somewhere. I can't even say it. It's so horrible. And they're sending innocent people there. So thanks for that. I asked about Pam Blondie. Did you look at her?
Okay. Hold on, let me pull it up.
I don't remember which you said that you actually looked at.
Now, she is a Scorpio.
Oh, that makes sense. People tell me she was in Scientology.
Oh, interesting. There's lunar eclipse in September that could radically change her career trajectory. And that kind of eclipse, we could be feeling it starting in June or so. Radically change her career trajectory and end a chapter. So she might not. Well, now that's interesting. There's a big stress on her right now. Now that I look at this,
it's huge. Yeah,
huge stretch on her. Yeah, Uranus is opposing her sun. Interesting. I'm going to say right now is a really critical time. Early June, a bunch of stuff could get very dicey for her. And then there's a massive reboot of what her role in the world is that comes to a head early in September. So if things are in
Huh.
fact swept out during the summer, that would fit.
I'm gonna check my pendulum. I'm gonna ask if she's going. Will she go? Is she going to prison? It's not prison. Do you want to formulate a question?
Um, I have so many.
Will she be out? Will she be
Will
out?
she leave her current position um,
Yeah.
before the end of September?
Yeah. Strong yes.
Will she be disbarred?
Well, will Pam Bondi be disbarred? Yes. Yeah. She's out of there. Yeah. Now, okay. I'm gonna start reading the chat because I see so many discouraging things. I'm not even gonna. It's like whack-a-mole.
No. People are talking about. They're giving more information about like when September comes. Yeah, you and me both. I wish. Now, we do play a role in outer reality. So
Yeah.
I keep stressing everyone's being galvanized to action. Action,
Takes a
action,
while.
action.
It takes a while to
So
get all these people to be aware and to participate in these rallies. I mean, we're talking millions and millions of people on board with rising up.
but in the meantime, every little thing you can do will help this. And one thing you can do is visualize the kind of world you want to live in and gravitate to experiences that fit the kind of world you want to live in. And Annette has all kinds of visualizations
True.
that will help
Every
with that.
Thursday. Every
Mhm.
Thursday night. Mm-hmm. Check it
So,
out.
I keep thinking, and I'll own up to this. There are times I realize that my adult life has been spent either feeling comfortable, interestingly, when there has been a Democrat in the White House, and being braced for what my government might want to do to me pretty much every time there has been a Republican in the White House. So I would
Mhm.
like to remind myself of what it felt like the past 4 years to simply get up and live my life and not worry about what horrific, awful thing was happening on the world stage that we were precipitating. We've lived in the energy that we want. We lived in it during Kamala's campaign. Find
Yeah.
it. Find it
Yeah.
and
Go back.
reignite that in yourself. It's
Go
there.
back. Go back to we're not going back. Go back and remember what we were doing. And and for those that are being cynical in the chat today, I understand. I'm cynical at times. It's a lot of work to not be cynical. But understand that it's not about, well, we have to wait till this time, or it's really about how engaged we are, because we can accelerate this. And we'd be
That's
lying
my
if we
point. Yeah.
said, yeah, we'd be lying if we said that not that oh, people are just really not paying attention at all. Some aren't. But I don't feel like that's the majority. I look at these rallies and this protest rally coming up. I've said there's going to be double the amount that there was on April 5th, and it might exceed that. And 350 million people against. I'm not saying they're all against Dumpy, because some are very much in the cult, but a good percentage. And at PNN we can go into that maybe tomorrow night to just gauge what percentage are really going to help save democracy actively. But that's a ton. Go and look at the big crowds. That is a ton more support than what the fascists have, which is why they're really just going all to the wall, to just show us, well, you're going to have fascism, like what they did to Harvard. You're going to have this, and that's what they're doing everywhere. And it's about the people that are resisting. And when one organization resists, or one person resists, whoever it is that's resisting, that's powerful, there's a real ripple effect to that. when they lead, people go, "Oh, if they can do it, well, I can do it." And I want to ask you too about this work that we're doing. Did you ever think you'd be doing what we're doing? Because you
No.
mentioned, yeah,
No.
me neither. No way. So that's where we are. Oh, and somebody saying my declarations are powerful. I've written declarations for us to say at 12 noon Eastern time. Adjust to your time zone. If you'd like to receive those, send an email to AnnetteDion7@gmail.com. We will manifest what we want to be so.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and 419 is the anniversary of the shot heard around the world in
In
Lexington, Mass.
in my video last Friday with Louise Eddington, it's on Professional Aquarian under the Election 2024 and Beyond playlist. We talked about the chart of the shot heard around the world, the
Oh, cool.
April 19th, 1775 chart, and we put it around the current White House occupants chart. And yeah.
Oh, do tell a little bit. I don't know if I've seen that one.
I think the artist protests and the people in the street are going to really, really, really have an impact on him, because Venus in the 1775 chart was right on top of his midheaven, exactly there, right there where Uranus is, where Algol is. That's the fixed star that's associated with Medusa and beheading, which can be symbolic.
Oh, was it Louis the 16th that was married to Marie Antoinette?
Yes, I believe so.
Because did I tell you that
Mm-hmm.
I was reading on it and he was him? That was one of those PNN moments where it was like, get out, Mussolini and Louis the 16th. He fears crowds. That's why he's so obsessed with crowd size, right? When they're for him, he fears crowds. So get out there and be part of the crowd. Join the crowd, everyone. That's great. So who else do we have to talk about?
Harvard. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Harvard was founded in 1636.
It was?
Yes.
I should know though.
1636.
Now I know.
Harvard was founded with on a new moon in Scorpio.
I can't believe it's that old.
And Harvard has Mercury in Scorpio opposite Pluto in Taurus. And they're both in a harmonious relationship with Venus and Jupiter. So what this means is Harvard is wired for power. Harvard is wired for money. That's why its endowment is so large. And it has the latitude to say no. And it's losing tremendous amount of funding, but it has a tremendous amount of funding.
Yeah. It has more than it's losing, that's for sure.
Lot more. And all of that Scorpio is survival. I mean, they can withstand pretty much anything. I will be stunned if they backtrack, if this college backtracks on university backtracks on it saying no.
No, this feels pivotal.
Mm-hmm.
It feels pivotal that they said, not on our watch. Go away. Get away from Harvard, you jerk. I'm really surprised to hear that. And I'm kind of ashamed that I didn't know that it was established that long ago.
1636.
That's my state.
It was established in a town that wasn't even called Cambridge at the time. It changed its name later to Cambridge.
What was it called then?
Oh boy, I don't remember.
I'm going to do my homework. It's up to me. I'm responsible for my own state's history.
Yes, I would say you are.
But April 19th is also the midnight ride of Paul Revere, so there.
It was founded in...
Thanks, Innocent Potato. And Rose. Because that was
Oh,
before like the Salem witch trials, 1630 something, and they were in 1692.
yes, it was founded in New Town with an E, a settlement that was only 6 years old in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. And then in 1638, Newtown was changed to Cambridge.
Now I'm going to look it up. I
Mhm.
should have more details. Cool. So, all right. So Harvard's standing strong, and I think that's going to kind of set a precedent for the other colleges that are under threat.
Mhm.
I also see some more funding coming to the other colleges from other sources that are being threatened. Maybe Harvard's going to help them out. Just a
I,
hint.
d- I doubt they'll hand their endowment over, but
No, but just a little
no.
here and a little there, just to help them to protest it legally.
Hmm.
Do you see a preponderance of legal cases that this fascist regime loses that kind of pushes things more towards our
Well,
winning?
they have they have lost many more than they've
Yeah,
won.
yeah,
Many were. In fact, a class was certified. A class action suit was certified today for immigrants. There's an immigration class that's been certified. So that's enormous. Like you can't just
yeah.
break people's
Right,
windshields, yank them out of their cars, and take them
right.
away.
Yeah,
So there's big stuff going on, and
it's awful, so awful. And I told you that they were in my town yesterday.
yeah.
I haven't heard. I need to check the local paper and see if it's in there. Um, this is a time for us to just all really be paying close attention. Newtown changed its name to Cambridge in 1638. There's Warren with the facts. Thanks for Googling that. Or maybe
Yep,
he just knew.
that's what I just said.
So I asked you for some other people to look up. I'm trying to remember who.
This is all I have. I'm not
Oh,
looking at Stephen Miller. That's the only other one you mentioned. Not looking at him. Sorry. Nope.
all right.
On our following our new mandate of positivity. Nope. Mm-mm.
Well, it would be positive if you went, he's done. But we can save that for PNN. We don't have to
Well, I don't.
delve into that.
Honestly, I don't see what will. I don't. I don't. With a lot of these people, I look at it and I go, "Why are you here?
Well,
Why?"
I'll tell you why. Because look at what's happening. This is my take. We are going through this because the planet has so many humongous issues that need to be dealt with, or we're not going to make it as a civilization. We're not going to survive as a species. And nobody was really. I mean, I say nobody. I say that loosely. Nobody was really paying attention to the long-term damage to our world of what we have had, like pre-COVID, of what we were doing, just kind of we just running here, there, and everywhere. COVID kind of made everyone stop in their tracks, and it was traumatic, absolutely traumatic. And it made everyone kind of stop and think. And then we went into, oh well, Biden will make it better, and then Kamala will make it better. So we risked going into a little bit of a lackadaisical zone. That we risked that.
Mhm.
And now, since we all have to do an about face, unless we want to be sent to, I won't say it, but we all have to do an about face in the face of something that's so extreme, more than anything we've ever confronted in our lifetimes. Maybe the World War II generation is dying. So it's so extreme, and it wasn't right on our soil. So this gets people, all these lawyers, all these colleges, all these cases, because they have to fight back, they're getting stronger. And democracy doesn't work unless we have a legal system that works. And it was failing. And now,
Mhm.
because our lives depend on it, we have to strengthen them. And the only way we become strong, just like working out of the gym, the only way we become strong is through resistance training. And I think that we haven't seen how much potential we have, and we don't see it until we're really challenged. And I hate that it's so difficult, but it is.
Remember what happened in South Korea? They took their president
They took
out
him down. Yeah.
within days.
So why not us? Why wouldn't we be able to do that? Everything we need is in place in order to do that. We just have to get out of the busyness of our lives and get busy with this, because in the long term, we can get back to our lives. We can. I thought we were going to be able to do that. I had hoped with Kamala winning, but what would have happened then was MAGA wouldn't have gone away.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It would have strengthened. We would have had those bloodbaths. So I think that we're gonna, get through this. I really do believe that. I really feel that this is something that we're all gonna look back on someday and go, "Wow, remember how hard that was? Remember we thought we weren't gonna make it? Like after January 6th, remember how hard that was? After 9/11, remember how hard that was, right? This is another one of those things. They all come in different versions, but the threat to our democracy makes us stronger. Have you peeked at NATO's chart recently, just on your own time? And
No, but let's look.
I'm not an astrologer, so I don't know how much it takes to like jump right in. It's not like reading cards.
Well, okay, so the March 29 solar eclipse did activate NATO's chart in a huge
Yeah.
way. And I keep saying they've got to have something coming. Also, I would think that the big plot twist will be in May with NATO, because Jupiter, which expands everything it touches, is moving across its moon. It has the moon in Gemini in the 11th house. Its whole emotional driver is multiplicity, deals many, many, many components to it, which it's a multinational organization. And then Jupiter is going to move across Uranus in its chart in May. It's going to change signs in June. So, I mean, it seems to have been poised for something to happen. And about that time, Pluto is going to move. I mean, Mars in the sky is going to move across NATO's Pluto. NATO isn't going to just be sitting by and having meetings. And I don't know what it is
I
they're going to
agree.
do. It will look like it comes out of the blue, but trust me, it's been plotted and plotted and plotted for.
I recommend too. Yeah, they will be retaliating against Russia.
Mhm.
I want to recommend too that I mentioned, kind of joking. I'm a fan of Rick Steves, and he has a new book out, and I really need to get it. He's been a traveler for about over 40 years,
Right.
and what I love is that I'm learning so much about Europe and World War II, and what other countries have been through that we just haven't. We're separated by these huge oceans. We don't know what it's like to be in that kind of a challenging situation, but that the people were so resilient and that they overcame the most heinous of circumstances. It just really reminds me that whatever we go through, we're going to come back from it. We don't want World War II. We don't want World War III. We don't want to even say World War III. But the world has overcome some things that were just seemed like they were insurmountable. And learning more about the history of Europe, I know that they're not going to mess around. NATO is not going to mess around. The EU is not going to mess around. They've been pretty clear about that. They were our allies. Now they're like, what? WTF, America, what's going on? So I do see them stepping in, and I do see massive, like, ganging up on Putin. I don't know if you've read on that lately.
I haven't looked at Putin's chart lately, but this has been building. There's been something building with NATO for quite a while.
Do you find that people, because you've been doing shows pretty consistently, do you find that people are getting impatient at all, or like doubtful, or like?
People come and go with the doubt. I will say, There have been multiple windows where this could have been resolved, and for whatever
Yeah,
reason,
right.
they weren't acted on. Much like a few years ago, we had 2 impeachments. Either one of them could
Yeah,
have led to removal. For whatever reason, they did not. So I have seen, and I haven't been misreading it because the
no,
storyline has been there. There have been many, many moments at which we could be living a different story. And it's just a question of which one becomes the one that is enough. And it's going to take the really wealthiest people who drive things to recognize, to realize that it's not working for them, and then they will
no.
get on board with the rest of us.
That's
Unfortunately,
happening. That's
yeah.
happening now. That's happening with Amazon and it's happening with Elon. Just
And
to name a couple.
Zuckerberg, Zuckerberg has he's a Taurus, and Uranus has just moved onto his Taurus sun. And I was talking about this. Someone asked about it in my Patreon last month, and I went, well, we'll just have to see what happens when Uranus hits there. Well, what happens is the Department of Justice is suing Meta to break it up for
Yeah, that's happening
antitrust
as we
as
speak, I
we
think.
speak.
I think they're in
And I'm not
hearing.
saying that that shouldn't happen, but it is a remarkable thing for this Justice Department to go after something owned by one of its biggest donors.
That's curious.
Yes, that's why I bring it up. Like, Zuckerberg played along. He had this look on his face at various meetings of, don't hurt me, don't hurt me, don't hurt me. I
Yeah,
mean, he did not
I've
look
seen
like
it.
the others. And now
Yeah.
what's happening? Oh, ha! They want to take Instagram and WhatsApp away from Meta.
And what do
I'm
they
not
want to do with it?
spin them off, like have somebody else own them. They're saying it's an antitrust violation. I don't disagree with that position. I find it
Right.
remarkable that this Justice Department is
Yeah, I
doing this
know.
because it's steered by the guy at the top, which is wrong.
That's why I'm asking the question, what do they want to do with it? Because everything's nefarious. It's like I can't just imagine this is for the common good, what they have on their minds. This DOJ with Pam Bondi. Yeah, there's some. I'm going to read on that tomorrow. Yeah, it's crazy.
And here's what I want you to read on, okay? The guy sitting at the Resolute desk doesn't do anything unless there's a piece in it for him. Why are we sending people to prisons in another country? Why aren't we just dropping them on the tarmac somewhere? What's in it for him? What's in it for him?
What's in it for him? I feel like,
Monetarily.
yeah, well, I actually feel like this has been my psychic impression that it's a human trafficking scheme,
Yep.
but we're paying them, I think 6 million, not we, I don't want to say we. Dumpy is paying, I guess, the government, right? Our tax dollars. Everybody, hello, it's tax day. Our tax dollars are being used to fund this prison in El Salvador, a
What's
concentration camp.
he getting out of it? He
Yeah, I know.
doesn't do
I'm,
anything unless
I'm,
he gets something out of it.
I'm getting there. I'm
Okay,
getting there.
I'll shut up.
I just had it occur to me that our tax, like, because I'm thinking it's not coming out of his pocket, right? I'm kind of realizing things along the way. I have sensed that yes, the money's being paid to the president of El Salvador for these prisoners, but I feel like there's something that turns around there.
And there's a cut coming back.
Yeah, that he gets it back increased. And I cannot, as much as I just don't want to think those two words, human trafficking, I cannot shake it.
Well, how could it be anything but?
Yeah, and I've said it doesn't take a psychic, I don't think, but it's also a strong feeling, and it has to stop. It has to stop immediately. We have to pray our heads off, or whatever you do. This this is just this is Nazi. This is Nazism. So he's being promised money back, increased. But since it's our tax dollars, I mean, I don't understand how that's. We have to find out who writes the check. Is it crypto?
It's got to be crypto. It's hidden somehow.
Yeah, that's amazing. Slave labor, somebody's saying. Yeah, it's a lot.
So visualize the world as you want it. How do you want to feel waking up in the morning? How do you want, what kind of system do you want to be part of? What do you want to be associated with? What are your values? How do you put them into action?
And I have a
And
theory. Go
yeah,
ahead.
no.
Now, I have
You,
a theory on why it's taken so long, why we keep getting, like, I know in astrology, you may have told me this, some astrologer told me that there's certain off ramps for when you could depart this life, right? In somebody's chart.
I would say so.
But they're not like, they don't all happen, right? Because certain things have to line up, and then if it's your time to go and everything's lined up, then that you'll take that particular off ramp. They like on the highway, right? There's several off ramps that can kind of take you to the same place, and maybe a little bit of a roundabout way with some of the exits. So what I see is that yeah, we've had opportunities to stop this. I'm really I'm really knowing in my soul that there's not a critical mass enough of people that will just stick with, I'm not going to look at the negativity. You know, that will just make a resolution to just, I'm not going to buy into the drama and the trauma. I'm not going to look at it. I'm just going to do my thing to save democracy, and I'm going to believe that this country can be a strong democracy again. I'm not doing a reading on. Ask me tomorrow, Teresa. Some people are asking me for to answer questions. Save that for PNN. That'd be great. So we haven't reached that point yet, because what I see is that people, they pay attention to when it's really urgent. I'm just speaking in very general terms. They pay attention to when it's really, really urgent, when it's really shocking and upsetting. And then once the danger passes, it's like going back to the path of least resistance. And I think that if we can push ourselves to the point where we just stick with, we're saving democracy, and we don't get swayed, that's how tyranny works. It keeps trying to sway you. Where I see this massive deluge of gaslighting around this deportation trafficking situation, they're trying to get us to believe that what we see and know is not, that we don't see and know, even though it's right in front of us. And we see it with our eyes and hear it with our ears. So we have to get a bit stronger, I think, collectively, and not waver.
There's a question about what will happen at the hearing at 4:00. I don't think this judge is going to postpone a decision. I think something pretty abrupt is going to come out of it, and really, really strong.
And I'm doing a pop-up this afternoon, you know, sometime after this, so, which I will pre-record and upload, so I'll look at that too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's 4 now.
Yeah, I know. And I wouldn't want to be in that courtroom.
No, yuck. Oh, no.
I've been around a pissed off federal judge, not someone you want to go near.
Yeah, well, that's good if he's pissed off. We'll hear about it, I'm sure. So this has been an interesting show. Thank you. You can tell everyone how to reach you to get an astrology chart reading, but before you do, I want to mention to everybody, we work really hard we don't really make much money on these shows. I know neither of us do. So we're working our butts off. We're completely dedicated and devoted. We appreciate all the financial support and take advantage of our collective expertise and professionalism in our fields. Kathy Biehl and I have collectively over 60 years of experience in this work. So we want to support you by giving you the opportunity to use our services. So I know we always have special deals going on and everything. So give it a shot. Let us know what you do, you know, what you're selling, Kathy.
Oh, I'm actually having trouble fitting readings in. So get your request in. because of all this other stuff I'm doing. My site is empowermentunlimited.net. There's a services tab at the top, and you can see what I offer. My YouTube, I have a podcast, like maybe 10 minutes for every week. I have forecasts for every new moon, full moon, and month. My YouTube channel is Professional Aquarian. That's where all the political videos are, as well as all of my forecast videos. Everything I have on my site is also on my YouTube channel. And I have a Patreon, patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, which has additional explanations of what's going on in the sky and how to work with it. And once a month, I have an Ask Me Almost Anything. And now that people have started coming to my Patreon from the political sphere, I'm getting asked really meaty political questions. So that's why we looked at Zuckerberg last week. So that goes on patreon.com/Kathy Biehl. So
Great. Thank you for the donation, Sage, and the other people that donated. Much appreciated. And all those who send donations through the mail. They don't go unnoticed. Thank you. Thank you. Everyone knows where to reach me, psychic.AnnetteDion.com to book a session. Thank you so much. We have tomorrow night, we do Thursday night, we do a guided meditation for a healed America. So join us for that. And PNN Psychic News Network is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And this being Holy Week, I also have a church. This is the 4th or the 5th year that I've done a whole spiritual celebration each day of Holy Week. So stay tuned for that. And those will be live streamed Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'll post the schedule. All right. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you again soon.
I want to add one more thing before we go. There's been tons of Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania talk in the chat. Yay. I invite people to go to YouTube and search for Tomorrow at the Children's Corner. This is from Fred Rogers' first TV show that was local only to Pittsburgh, way before he ended up nationally. And somebody has the whole thing up. It's an album with a story of King Friday the 13th is the king of Calendarland. And the host and Daniel Stripe and Tiger are going around looking for Tomorrow because she's missing. You need this. I own this record. It is one of my treasured possessions. So because I used to watch this show, so I'm giving a hint as to what my age really is. But anyway.
Tell us the website.
Tomorrow at the Children's Corner. Tomorrow at the Children's
Corner.com.
Fred Rogers. No, on YouTube. Fred Rogers.
On YouTube.
Yeah. And just listen to it all. And you'll just hold your little stuffed animal and you'll feel so much better.
That's why I have Bob's Bunny during my pop-ups. We need to nurture our inner children. Don't forgo that. All right. Sun's coming out. Things are good. Thank you.
Bye.
Namaste. Bye, everyone. Appreciate you.